It's Thursday, December 1st, and you're listening to the Geek News Central Podcast, show number 725, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Geek News Central is also sponsored in part by GoToMeeting, now with HD Faces, the world's best web conference solution. Get your free trial at GoToMeeting.com. Click the Try It Free button and use the promo code podcast. And by Audible.com. Get a free book and a 14-day trial by going to audiblepodcast.com/geek news. Everyone got a great show lined up for you tonight. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphones.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Honolulu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. It is absolutely fantastic to be back here in Honolulu in the studio. And as you can hear me, I'm typing at the very same time that I'm starting the show. For some odd reason, I forgot to do a couple of steps like I normally do, but everyone, welcome. And of course, we want to give a warm welcome to the Ahana, all of you that are longtime listeners of the show. Thanks for being here, being part of the family. And of course, thanks for staying subscribed. And of course, we want to encourage all of you that are new listeners to the show to take some time and get over to geeknewscentral.com. Subscribe to the show. It's really very simple to do. And I guess the pull down didn't work. Let me re-energize this here. There we go. But I tell you, if all you got to do is go over to the website at geeknewscentral.com, click on the Try It Free button. What am I talking about? You know what's going on right now is I had a computer reboot just before the show. So I was rushing to get everything set up tonight. And now half my controls are not set the way they should be. And I'm trying to run an ad at the same time I'm trying to tell you how to subscribe to the stupid show. Oh, man, it's beautiful. Okay, so what you got to do is you got to go over to geeknewscentral.com. That orange box there where it says subscribe to the show. All you got to do is click on the link there. You can subscribe via iTunes, Zune Marketplace, or an RSS feed, and that'll get you subscribed to the show. And, of course, we want you to subscribe to our newsletter as well. And the newsletter contains all the links to all the content that I'm going to talk about tonight. So that's a very important thing. That'll keep you to dialed in on what's going on here with the show. And that will also let you know whenever a new show comes out. Now, if I have my act together, every Monday and Thursday night, the show is released. And that means that Tuesday and Friday morning on the East Coast, very early in the morning, the show's available for you. Of course, I'm here in Honolulu, Hawaii, and it's most of you are in bed late at night. And I don't know quite what time zone I am in because obviously I've been traveling halfway around the world and back and changing time zones over the last 9 days or so. And that isn't going to change anytime soon because I have one set of travel left here before the end of the year. We'll talk about that a little later in the show. But if you want to watch this show, I don't know why anyone would right now, but feel free to check us out on the Roku, Boxy, Samsung Smart TV, and now on the Google TV. The Tech Podcast app for the Google TV is now available. It's in the App Store. All you got to do is add it, and you'll be able to watch the show and all the shows over at techpodcast.com on your Google TV. For those of you that have updated, and I don't think the Logitech devices have updated yet, so those of you that are on Sony devices, those have updated, so you'll be able to get the show there. And so great way to watch the show, anytime you want, basically on demand. Of course, I'm streaming live tonight at live.geeknewscentral.com and making all kinds of crazy mistakes. But definitely want to encourage you to check us out when we're live if you're still awake. And as many of you are going to be getting ready to go on some vacation days, we'll be putting the show on all the way through the holidays. We'll be talking about a lot of stuff for Christmas tech gadgets, all kinds of stuff like that as we move closer to the Christmas holiday. And it is a holiday period. We're kind of starting that time of year. The old Christmas tree has not went up here in the Cochran household yet, but my wife arrived home from Okinawa this morning, and she was quite exhausted, and she basically gave me two instructions. Make sure the house stays clean, and two, get all the Christmas stuff out from the attic. So I pulled that all down, and I think tomorrow the decorations will start going up, and we'll probably go Christmas tree shopping and get a tree up here in the house over the weekend. But, and I'm actually wanting to, we've had so much kind of downtime. Everything's been kind of doom and gloom around here because of the situation with my wife's father and everything else. I think it's time to kind of get a little more active and, bring a little joy into the household. And so looking forward to that. And I'm actually looking forward to the holidays this year. But as always, if you have comments on today's show, and boy, you should, you can follow me on Twitter at Geek News. And you can, of course, email me here at geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline is 619-342-7365. That's what happens too. I've really gone away for about 10 days, and you kind of lose your workflow, especially working with the portable studio. It's not always the same. It really isn't. And the workflow is different, and you almost have like a muscle memory that's going on to do things. And one thing I'm going to do is this camera definitely was not in the right spot. So we're going to move him over a little bit. That's a little better, a little more direct on. And you guys will get to see part of the door back there. But the angle's a little better on it. Okay, well, of course, I want to thank our sponsors. And we've got a new sponsor to introduce to the audience this month. We're going to have 3 sponsors through about the middle of December. And really, the sponsors are completely responsible for my family being able to eat, me being able to keep the lights on, and they're really important to the show. And I'm really thankful for all of you that supported our sponsor in November, and of course December is a big month for us. We've got lots planned for January, so everything that you can do to support the sponsor is great. We're going to be announcing some new sponsorships for our CES coverage. We'll be talking about that and some special offers. But I really do have a great one for you with GoDaddy right now. I have 2 offers. And now I have the special going on where you get $1.99 hosting. Okay, so you can get a hosting account for just $1.99 for each month for 3 months, and you'll be able to get up on there just absolutely 4th generation hosting. This is fantastic. It's an instantly scalable. It's very secure. It's incredibly fast. It's a really unique hosting experience. I've been using one of these accounts for the chromeshow.com website, and just as a way to test it and really drink my own Kool-Aid here on talking about the GoDaddy product. And I have a number of GoDaddy services. I have some dedicated service with them. I have a bunch of their different add-on products as well that I use. But this offer with this, get 3 months of economy web hosting for just $1.99 a month is an amazing deal. And you just have to click the website, link on the website in the show notes to be loaded up and go over here. And it's $1.99 a month. Again, Geek11 is the promo code, and it's really a fantastic offer. Now, another thing that we're offering right now is it's kind of a unique deal. You'll get a free GoDaddy private registration. That's $9.99 per year value when you transfer or register 1 or more domains, okay? And again, the link is up on the website at geeknewscentral.com. Well, you got to go down here and click on that. And that code that you can use is Geek17. But the most important thing is all of my GoDaddy promo codes are available at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Geek5, Todd20, Todd, ComSale2, Geek Central, Aloha, Geek SSL12. All of those give you an amazing value for your money. And we want you to definitely check out GoDaddy's products and services and all the specials we've got going on through the end of December here at Geek News Central. Okay, and another topic that we're going to move through here. Family's all home. Everyone is kind of getting back into the groove of things. I'm sure it's going to take my wife a few days to get situated. I flew back from Salt Lake yesterday on Delta. It's kind of funny because I haven't flown Delta in probably 10 years. I think I've got some frequent flyer miles from when they before they merged with Northwest. And so I'm on the airplane. I'm back in coach, and on my way out, I was in the middle seat, which sucked. I probably was because I was so tired. I was trying to stay in my space, and definitely falling asleep a little bit. And the guy beside me kept elbowing me, and I think it was because I was starting to move over into space. And I had told him before the flight started, I said, "Listen, I've been on the road. I haven't had much sleep. If I start invading your space," I said, "you just elbow me." And he obliged. And I think he only had to do it 3 times, but I got done. I apologized to him. I said, I'm sorry. So, you were pretty good. You just creeped a couple of times. That I did what you told. I gave you a good elbow, and you readjusted. So that was good. On the way back, I was going to buy some food on board and have a cocktail, and the steward came by, and I ordered a sandwich and a drink, and handed him my United Mileage Plus Visa card. And he looked at it and he says, "United, boy, you're going to use your United card on a Delta flight?" I said, "Well, I got to get some miles somehow, right?" And I told him I hadn't flown with him for a while. And I'll say one thing: Delta's seats suck. There's none of that extended leg room. The seats are like plastic and hard. Wow. I will not be flying Delta anytime soon. Not to say that United's coach seats are much better, but just a little bit better, I think. And definitely more leg room in United coach. But anyway, so what's going to happen is I'm flying out to Austin Sunday night. So we'll have 2 shows in Texas next week. And then I'm done through the end of the year until we get ready to go to CES. And really, CES I'm almost in panic mode, getting ready. Told my son, we got to get all the gear out of storage. I got to get it into the garage. I got to get it opened up. I got to get it all hooked up, make sure we get all the wires, the interconnects, and that I haven't, because when we left CES, we packed everything into the boxes last year, brought it home, and I just put it directly in storage. So there's some stuff that is, haphazardly put in different places. So we'll get that all squared away and ready to go out to Vegas. Internet's ordered. The electricity's ordered. We got some banners we have to order yet, but we're going to have a new layout to the studio. I'm really excited about the new layout we're going to be using, a new table arrangement. It's really going to work out well. The guys are getting ramped up. We're really getting ready to go. So, it's going to be a big event, and I hope that some of you have already stepped up and donated for our CES coverage to help out our support staff. And we're a long ways to go on our goal to reach $5,000. So if you have a moment, feel free to donate to our support staff. Now, what I'm going to be doing on this month, because I took on a new advertiser this month, is everything that I'm going to earn from this next advertiser I'm going to talk about, all that money is going to go towards our support staff. So I'm going to take all that sponsorship money. We're going to be running 3 ads in the show tonight and the rest of the way through about the middle of the month. But every dollar that we earn from that is going to be for our support staff. And the sponsor's been on the show before, and we want you to support them and get a trial, and that's Audible. And one thing that made this trip enjoyable was the ability for me to listen to a couple of audiobooks. I had a bunch of podcasts loaded, but really being able to load and listen to some books. And, I may have dozed in and out a little bit, but the book that I spent listening to on the way back from Okinawa, about the first 8 hours of it, and here goes the phone, so we'll see if someone answers that, was called In the Plex, and it's a book by Stephen Levy. I'm hoping someone is going to answer that phone. I think my wife is sleeping, so that's probably why. Now, someone is finally answering. But anyway, In the Plex by Stephen Levy, and it's a book about everything inside Google and an insider's view of working at Google and everything going on about Google. And that was an absolutely fantastic start to that book. And I don't know why someone's not answering this phone. Oh, there we go. But anyway, give it a try. Give Audible a try, and you get a free book on me. all you got to do is go to audiblepodcast.com/geek news, and you'll get your free 14-day trial. I should put the little banner up here. So again, go to audiblepodcast.com/geek news. Nothing like an advertisement being interrupted by a phone ring. And I think what it is, my son is at a preliminary robotics competition tonight, and he may be calling for his ride home. So we'll see if that's actually the case. He was supposed to get a ride with someone, but maybe not. All right, what else is going on here? And again, if you want to support us by support donations, you can do that as well. New edition of the... Hang on a second here. New edition by... there, finally, someone picked it up. Robot Underpants. And so check that out. Of course, the Gadget Professor's been putting stuff up. Talked with Don. Don's going to be coming out for CES for a couple of days. So the Gadget Professor will be out, for, I think, for Tuesday and Wednesday of the show. So we look forward to having him join the team as well. Let me go ahead and get into some of the content here. And if the phone rings 5 more times, I'm going to go out there and strangle somebody. And someone actually left this phone in here, which it normally is not left in here. So let me go ahead and load the tech stuff I've got for tonight. And if you know a company going out to CES, I want to encourage you to really have them consider applying to be basically have us come see them on the floor, or actually have them come and be in our broadcast booth. If you know of a cool product that's being introduced of CES, definitely drop me an email as well at geeknews@gmail.com. But first thing I want to talk about is probably one of the biggest stories that has been on the net here for the last 24, 36 hours. It's about a company called Carrier IQ. If any of you have been reading the websites and have been following along with what's been going on, essentially what has been found is those of you that have specifically Android phones, a video was released 2 days ago that showed Carrier IQ, and basically what is happening is anytime you press a number key, do a text, do a Google search, this program is calling home to mama. It transmits data from your personal cell phone back to Carrier IQ without your consent. The company initially, like a couple of weeks ago, when this initially news broke, the individual was threatened to be sued, and the company has since backed off because EFF got involved, and the EFF basically said, "Hey, you don't, you better back off and not go after this guy." And they did back off. And then he produced this second video that shows all this activity going on with Carrier IQ, and it's specifically for phone. Now, the Apple iPhone has the Carrier IQ software in it as well, but Apple has said that they have really shut down most of the reporting that Carrier IQ is doing. But if you've got a Sprint phone, AT&T, not Verizon, Sprint, I think, and AT&T are the two companies that have initially confirmed, and you have an Android device, it is more than likely that this software is installed in your phone. And there's no way for you to shut this thing off from calling home to mama. And this has gotten wide coverage all over the place. Now, there's a post everywhere. So basically, here is one thing that Carrier IQ said. Now, Sprint says, we collect enough information to understand the customer experience with devices on our network and how to address any connection problems. But we do not and cannot look at the content of messages, photos, videos, etc. using this tool. The information collected is not sold, and we do not provide a direct feed of this data to anyone outside of Sprint. But on the Sprint phone that he was testing on, text message data, key numbers, keypad numbers that you were punching, and the searches in even a secure HTTPS search on Google, that search query was being sent back to Secure IQ, allegedly. And this is what the video shows. AT&T said, we're really not going to offer more details than what's in the statement. Verizon said in a statement to GigaOM, any report that Verizon Wireless uses Carrier IQ is patently false. We did recently notify customers about new privacy programs where we were transparent how customer information will be used and gave clear choices to customers about whether they want to participate in these programs. Carrier IQ is not involved in these programs. What makes you wonder, what is Verizon carrying? HTC said they're not a partner, and it basically they provide the phone, and then the carriers load the phone's carrier. The carriers load this Carrier IQ product on there. Google has made it clear that they do not have any involvement with Carrier IQ. They say Google do not have any affiliation with Carrier IQ. Android is an open source effort, and we do not control how carriers or OEMs customize their devices. But it appears the carriers here are the big bad wolves in this deal. Now, Senator Al Franken has sent a very strong letter to Carrier IQ, and he's just the phone is snooping and violates federal law. And I'll have the link in the show notes to his letter that he sent to Mr. Larry Linhart, president and CEO of Carrier IQ Incorporated out of Mountain View. And I sent an email out to Carrier IQ as well yesterday, day before yesterday, asking for clarification on a number of questions. They responded that they were formulating some answers, but they had never responded to this show. So what Senator Al Franken said is, I'm very concerned by recent reports of your company's software pre-installed on smartphone used by millions of Americans is logging and may be transmitting extraordinarily sensitive information from consumers' phones, including when they turn their phone off, when they turn the phones on, the phone numbers they dial, the content of text messages they receive, the URLs of websites they visit, the contents of online search queries, even when those searches are encrypted, and the location of the customer using the smartphone, even when the customer is expressly denied permission for an app that is currently running to access his or her location. So he's asking a number of questions to them. He's demanding an answer by December 14th. He says, does Carrier IQ software log users' location? What other data does Carrier IQ software log? Does it log telephone number, content, text? He's got like 10 different items. He wants to know what information is transmitted off the phone, when, and what form. And that data transmitted, is it transmitted to the smartphone manufacturers, or is it transmitted to any third party? It asks if Carrier IQ receives the data, does it subsequently share it with third parties? They're saying, will Carrier IQ allow users to stop any logging and transmission of this data? Asking how long they store the data. Has Carrier IQ disclosed this data to federal or state law enforcement? So imagine the FBI knowing that this group is collecting all this information. Imagine the treasure trove. They don't need, they just go back and say, hey, give me the last year's worth of logs off this guy. Here's the warrant. And you're going to have every number that you've called, every text, every Google search on your phone. And, but he goes on to say that he feels that this could be, basically a violation of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act and a whole bunch of other U.S. laws. And he wants some answers. And so does a lot of other people. Carrier IQ has responded today in a second press release and saying Carrier IQ acts as an agent for the operators. Each implementation is different, and the diagnostic information actually gathered is determined by our customers. The mobile operator's Carrier IQ does not gather any other data from devices. I don't know if I believe that, based on what they say, but they come out with a whole list and of information here. But this is scary stuff. You thought the Apple spying stuff was bad. This is huge. So there's going to be a lot more fallout on this. I could see this group in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee and testifying on why they've been collecting data like this, and along with the carriers. Now, UK networks insist they don't use the Carrier IQ software at all. But if I'm going to link up to an article on extremetech.com, and if you go through that, you're going to be able to see exactly how this is working. You're going to be able to see if the Carrier IQ is running on your Android device. I've also got some links I'm going to provide you in the show notes tonight, is how to turn Carrier IQ off on your iPhone. And it is on your iPhone on iOS 5 and in earlier versions. But Apple has said we stopped supporting Carrier IQ with iOS 5 in most of our products, said Apple in a statement. And so they clarified that Carrier IQ was not included in iOS 5 on all devices, although they declined to say which device it had Metric software. So anyway, there's a good article on Computer World on how to shut this off. And basically, it's under location services. You can turn the switch diagnostic and usage. And I'll basically throw that up on the screen here real quick. If you just want to see the menu for those of you with an iPhone, what it actually looks like. And it's basically a menu that just says location services. And then there's a choice here for diagnostics and usage. So that when you turn that off, that will guarantee that Carrier IQ essentially will not call home to mama. But big news on this. We'll keep you abreast of this as updates pop and let you know where this stands as the weeks. I'm sure this is going to be all over the web with some bigger news as time goes on. All right, there's more stuff popping on the Apple TV or Apple Smart TV project, and a bunch of analysts and insiders supposedly are weighing in. And it's probably what we all expected. Siri is going to be integrated into it. It's going to be just like a regular TV that you have now. You're going to be able to plug your cable into it like you do because they don't think that Apple's going to have enough content otherwise to support it. It's going to come in multiple sizes to support those with a bigger budget and those with a smaller budget. It's being speculated that the TV will cost twice what a normal television set costs. And if that's the case, so that's a big, I can understand a 25 or 30% premium, but twice the cost, that's a lot of money, and it's going to be an uphill climb for them. We'll see, but anyway, they're expecting not this year, but next year Christmas time is when this thing is going to be made available. So not soon enough in my book. Now, if you've been over to YouTube today, wow, they have really upped the game over there. They have completely revamped the YouTube site. It's just it is a remarkable change to the layout, and they got a thing here where you can take a tour and actually visit. Of course, a big fat ad right on top of the website, but all kinds of you can see the descriptions. I can see where my Facebook link is, people that are following me. This is probably the biggest change to YouTube ever, and it's really different. It ties in with Google Plus. The redesign is big. Now, the focus on channels is really part of YouTube's attempt to evolve from a site that is, on average freaking about 15 minutes a day by some of its users. And it also ties in its recently announced professional content initiative that will bring around 100 new channels and celebrities like Madonna, Tony Hawk, etc. But if you really go through this, the visual changes are the biggest part of this. The homepage has an activity stream, and if you see right here in the middle, you can see Jeffrey Powers' Geekazine show, some stuff that I've watched, definitely some stuff on Twit. This is some videos that I followed and have watched, and then some recommendations on the side. Along with that, there's listing for my channel. So let's look and see what my channel looks like now. It hasn't changed too much. My channel looks about the same as it did. So individual show channels, of course, I don't know where that blue came from. That sucks. And let me click here to try the new channel design, and we'll see what happens. Oh, I like that much better. And, okay, your channel got an upgrade. So let's take a look what's new. I'll have to come back to this. But anyway, this is nice. This is actually makes the channel look a lot better. And I like the layout. And very easy way. So very cool. I'll have to go in here, and there's a feed as well of activity, and then a list of all my videos. Yeah, I really do like this. This is nice. This looks a heck of a lot better than the old channel lineup. So definitely, if you want to go show number 725 here on YouTube, you can do so. But the brand new YouTube has got a great look, absolutely great look, and I'm sure there's going to be some resistance from the old time YouTubers. But I like how it looks already. So I'll dig in more tonight and tomorrow. All right, moving topics here. Let's talk a little bit about some stuff that's in the wind over the last couple of days. basically, internet service providers may start usage-based charging. I think we all have known this, that this may end up happening, but it appears that Cox, Communications, Charter, and Time Warner may be coming on with a usage base, and what they're finding out is that because of Netflix and YouTube consuming nearly 32.7% of all peak downstream traffic, this is starting to impact the cable providers. Now, here's the deal. You know how much money they make on the money you spend for your internet service? It's about a 95% profit margin for your internet usage. Now, when you're on the net and surfing, that bandwidth you use doesn't cost very much, even though now they're going to come in and they want to keep that percentage very high, that profit percentage very high. So, their television margins are not that high, obviously. It's probably about 10%. But so excuse me, I needed one of those anti-sneeze buttons so you guys didn't hear it. But anyway, 95% profit margin on the broadband is huge. So they definitely want to keep that cash cow running. And with so many people cutting the cord now, the more bandwidth you use, the lower that margin is, see? So, again, they're talking about usage-based charging. I think those of us here in the United States just need to continue to scream bloody murder and say no and fight them to the best of our ability. And there are some choices, at least now in Honolulu. I've got 3 different options I can go to. One that's really high speed, one that's high speed, and one that's slow, Clearwire. So I do have some options here, but I'm already giving them $100 a month, $200 some dollars a month. So it's enough. All right, let's talk about the spying on a water plant. Remember we talked about this on a couple of shows ago? Well, apparently a man who was on vacation in Russia, basically he logged into some water pump control software while he was on vacation from Russia, and he actually checked on the status of it. And he was basically watching this specific pump because he knew it was having some issues. And so this is funny. The login name that he used was his own, and that was in the log data of this information that the utility had. So there was no hacking on this utility. This guy VNC'd into the service legitimately. He was coming in from an IP in Russia, obviously. So, this guy, this contractor, just didn't really do too much investigative work, and he passed the information to the Environmental Protection Agency that is one that really started the ball rolling here. So we end up with a non-hack that was completely misreported, and it just goes to show you that some IT person really needs to go back to IT school to understand. You would think that someone that's an IT professional would know, okay, I got an IP, I got a username and password. They logged in, they didn't hack in. So why don't I contact the owner of this user account and talk to him and say, hey, did you share your username or password? And, oh, you were in Russia? That is a simple little phone call. So this is a massive oversight by this group. And everyone went to battle stations for nothing. Well, I guess they didn't start World War III over this, but there was definitely a lot of that going on, wasn't there? Well, Sprint has come to the aid of Clearwire, and they are poised to pay Clearwire up to $1.6 billion over the next 18 months. Clearwire was able to make a payment that was due, a $237 million interest payment, and so they weren't able to shut down. So basically what's happening here is Sprint, who is a majority owner and Clearwire's biggest customer, looks to expand its stake in the current network agreement. If Clearwire goes to the market for additional $400 to $700 million, Sprint would be part of it as well, up to $347 million. The carrier will also give Clearwire $926 million for network usage in the next 2 years, and Clear will support it until 2015 when the last contract of Sprint's WiMAX phones will expire. And so anyway, Sprint's got a lot on the plate here. They're spending a lot of money to have the iPhone. They have to pay Clearwire a lot of money to ride on their network. I just wish Clearwire would get the speed up, and I think that would help a lot. Well, AT&T has absolutely had an absolute meltdown. The FCC, kind of unusually, when AT&T withdrew its bid essentially for T-Mobile, that should have stopped everything in the tracks. But the FCC released a report to the public that was just, it was not favorable for AT&T. Talk about losing jobs and being anti-competitive and all these different things. And AT&T, who is now very displeased with the FCC's release of this report, has released its own lengthy response and has just, oh my goodness, they definitely come off the top rope. We expected that the AT&T mobile transaction would receive careful, considered, and fair analysis. Unfortunately, the preliminary FCC staff analysis offers none of that. The document is so obviously one-sided that any fair-minded person reading it is left with the clear impression that it's an advocacy piece and not considered analysis. In our view, the report raises questions as to whether its authors were predisposed. The report cherry-picks facts to support its views and ignores the facts that don't. Where facts were lacking, the report speculates with no basis and then treats its own speculations as if it were fact. This is clearly not the fair and objective analysis to which any party is entitled and which we have every right to expect. And this goes on and on and on and on and on with more response from them. And AT&T is not happy with the FCC talking about shooting down its job creation claims. Hey, we all know how mergers go, right? Any of you been part of a merger? What happens when there's a merger? And they merge the companies, and then they fire a bunch of people. It may not be right away, but there's duplicity. They don't need all those. It's like having 2 sales staff. You don't need two sales staff. You don't need 2 support staff. You only need 1. And they thought they were going to have 500, this huge number of jobs. And the FCC said, no, you're not. But AT&T said, oh, yes, we were. We're going to have a lot more jobs. And but anyway, AT&T has plans to try again to acquire T-Mobile. And they want to wage war with the FCC. But it can't help AT&T's future hopes of buying T-Mobile. But it's interesting that AT&T would say that the FCC was predisposed against the merger. And that's those fighting words, really are. So we'll see what happens here. But AT&T has had their little childish meltdown. Hey, AT&T, pay $4 billion to T-Mobile and then build your own network and let T-Mobile compete. We don't need you to acquire them and to, cause us less competition in this space. I'm quite happy having Sprint, AT&T, and T-Mobile out there competing for my business. And Verizon, out there competing for my business. That's choice. That's choice for Americans. That's choice that we need. We don't need more conglomerates that are sucking up and less competition and driving the prices up. Let T-Mobile fight on its own. They do a great job. I have not heard any one person that was in favor of this merger. So I think the FCC definitely sided with the public. That's for sure. All right, before we get too far into the show, let's take care of our last piece of business here. And, it's this time of year, for those of you that are living in the lower 48, weather days, I heard in Michigan, kids were off school today because of bad weather. People couldn't go into work. People are getting sick because the weather's changing. And really having a meeting this time of year with people on vacation and wherever they may be is impossible. But I got a solution for you. I got a way that you can work at home in your pajamas. Now you can do just like I am. I'm sitting here in a nice blue polo shirt, but you know what I'm wearing? I'm wearing some cruddy black shorts that I lounge around here in the house, but you can't see that because we're here on camera, right? So you can do the same thing by having a meeting using Citrix GoToMeeting. And, you can host a meeting online from your computer while your attendees are anywhere. They can be on their iPads, their iPhones, their Android mobile device, whether they're snowed in or home with a cold. GoToMeeting makes it easy really to join a meeting and really collaborate in real time. You can see each other with that HD faces. You guys know I love this app. I use it on a daily basis. I have attended a meeting today on my iPad, which was cool because I was mobile waiting to pick up my wife at the airport. So it works. It really, really does. And I want you to try GoToMeeting free today. Go to the App Store or the Android Marketplace. And it's real simple. All you have to do is, again, visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo code podcast. But if you go to the App Store, the Android Marketplace, you can download the free app and start joining GoToMeeting sessions really from anywhere and host your meetings with a free 30-day trial. And that helps the show out by doing a trial. I think you're going to love this product. It's a great way not have to get on an airplane and do something face-to-face with someone when the weather sucks. So thanks for GoToMeeting for being a great sponsor here. Again, visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo code podcast. All right, let's go ahead and move back into the content here. This is awesome. Technology is moving so quick. There's an article over on the BBC talking about engineers pioneer use of 3D printers to create new bones. And I was like, what? New bones with a printer? And I think we've heard about some of this stuff in the past. But the engineers say that a substance can be added to damaged natural bones where it acts as a scaffold for new cells to grow. And basically what the 3D printer is going to be used for is to create bone-like material, which researchers then can use to repair injuries. So they're going to make like a segment and kind of splice it in. But the researchers say doctors should be able to use the process to custom order replacement bone tissue in just a few short years. And they say that you can use the bone-like ceramic powder as a feed material, and it can make whatever you draw on the computer. And it's most suitable for low load bearing applications. However, what we're trying to develop, they say, is the controlled degradation of those, whatever that is, scaffolds, for those of you that are doctors. Whereas the scaffolds dissolve in the body, the bone tissue grows over it. So this is kind of like a binder. It's kind of like a building process. So they show some examples of this stuff and what it kind of looks like, and talks about hip stem replacement and some pieces they can use in there to help to basically repair damaged bones. This is pretty cool stuff. It really, really is. And I think with time, they're going to be printing and growing all kinds of different products for our aging bodies. The boomers are not going to go out easy. And they're going to try all kinds of interesting techniques in order to extend their lifetime. And they definitely are going to be benefactors of some of this cool new technology. Hey, Alan, one of our writers at Geek News Central, wrote a good article today. It's about Yahoo's top 10 searches of 2011. And first of all, I got to thinking, I said, who actually still searches stuff at Yahoo? I don't remember I think the last time I did a Yahoo search was maybe 10 years ago. But anyway, the top 10 most searched terms for 20 terms of 20 base. Here are the top 10 most searched for terms based on Yahoo's data. iPhone, Casey Anthony, Kim Kardashian, Katy Perry, who's that? Jennifer Lopez, Lindsay Lohan, American Idol, Jennifer Aniston, Japan earthquake, and Osama bin Laden. Is Katy Perry, is that Governor Perry's wife? I guess. I don't know. But anyway, those were the top 10. And just, you can tell there's definitely an entertainment-based group of folks using Yahoo. Casey Anthony, well, not entertainment, that's a law issue. Kim Kardashian, Jennifer Lopez, Lindsay Lohan, American Idol. Yes, at least 6 of the 10 were related to entertainment figures. So anyway, that was the top 10 from Yahoo for 2011. Those of you that are Spotify users, Spotify is doing something interesting. Spotify is now launching with apps. This is an article that KL wrote here at GNC. and they're going to be adding apps to their service. KL downloaded the beta version, try it out to see if there's something that is really a game changer. And KL says it depends on whether they can get developers to create apps or platform. And they released the Spotify API for apps, which allows people to build stuff. And there's currently 9 apps within the Spotify app. And I don't fully understand why they're building apps within an application. But the apps that are available right now are obviously entertainment-based. Rolling Stones, Last.fm, Sounddrop, Billboard Top Charts, Songkick, TuneWiki, Fuse, Mood Agent, The Guardian, Pitchfork, and We Are Hunted are the first 10 apps on Spotify. So I wonder if I ought to have the team do a tech podcast app for Spotify. I don't understand how this is going to help Spotify. How many people leave Spotify up and running? I guess enough do that they feel it's worth it. If you've been playing around with Google Maps, Google Map goes into malls and airports. Jeffrey Powers, of course, the host of the Geekazine podcast at geekazine.com, who's one of our writers here at GNC, wrote an article about how now when you go into malls, it's basically going to show your location and where everything else is at. So instead of going to that information page, you now will be able to find out where Macy's is at, or Nordstrom's, or whatever specific store you're looking for within the mall. Now, I think it's kind of weird. They're going to be extending this indoors, but it's going to bring you the familiar blue dot when you're indoors at public spaces. Now, here'll be the weird thing is when they start pulling in, because everyone's house layout blueprints are on file with the state and county, and you can actually go down and request the blueprints for your home. Those are actually on file. At what point do they start mapping us in our house so we have to find our own way around our own homes? I don't think it'll get to that, but they can map you now where you're in the mall. Just a little bit odd. I burn the midnight oil here, and really daytime is nighttime and nighttime's daytime because I deal with so many different time zones and people that we work with. And I use the Google Calendar a great deal. And I've always wanted to adjust the nighttime hours to really the hours I truly sleep. But I found a way to do it. There's a way to hide morning and night hours in Google Calendar. There's a little trick for it, and I'll have the link up to it in the show notes. You got to add an add-on in Labs to do this, but the Gmail team put this out, and it's a pretty cool way to change the calendar to look the way you want it to look. Now, how many of you have seen in movie sets where they have the camera on a rig? It's on a rail, and they can move that camera back and forth, and the guy can change positions as he's moving the camera. I think we've all seen that, and those types of setups are very expensive, obviously, and it takes a couple of people to run it. A guy sitting on a chair to run the camera. Well, now Mobi sliders put your video shots on a rail, and for $129, the folks over at Gizmo have showed this rail slider for your iPhone. Now, I looked at this and I thought, does this really make sense? And they have a video, 1 minute and 47 seconds. I'm not going to play it, obviously, but it basically, if you do down on the ground shots or on the side of the wall, or you're trying to get that special effect where you're trying to be smooth and moving into a picture, this might be the device for you. But you're going to need some practice to be smooth. And this is the guy that gives you the demo, of course, looks real slick. And but anyway, it's $129. And shipping on it will happen December 12th. So if you're looking for to put your iPhone on rails in order to do a video shot, you can do so. But here's the product of the day. And this is probably going to make a great stocking stuffer. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are traveling and you're having too many power plugs running around and you want to dual purpose some stuff, the folks from, I guess how you pronounce that is Innergie, Innergie, has put together what they call magic cables to let you declutter charging, and these are around $30. And basically you have multiple chargers within one, and you just readjust the stack. And it's pretty cool how this works. And essentially comes with 2 cables and then a variety of different charging plugs. And all you got to do is restack it in order to have it lined up for the right plug. And I still find myself needing to charge at least 2 things at once half the time because it seems like I kill my iPad and iPhone at about the same time. But this might make a great stocking stuffer for you. $30, and the link to that will obviously be in the show notes. All right, ladies that have, or actually anyone that has kids that are still in strollers, you're going to love this. And I'm going to show you the video just because, and I'll describe it to those of you that are listening. And let me bring this over here, and it'll be pretty self-explanatory. So what this does is it's a stroller, origami stroller. And you got this gal walking up with the stroller. It's empty. And she pushes a little button, and it folds up. It folds up by itself. You know how many times have you had trouble with that latch on your stroller, and then you push another button, and it unfolds? Now, I'm sure this is probably very expensive. And yes, $849 expensive. And of course, then you're going to have to charge the stroller. But it'll also charge your cell phone when you're pushing the kids around because it's got a little external plug-in because obviously this thing has a battery. And this is definitely the Rolls Royce of strollers. But I remember having strollers and fighting with these stupid things. You'd push the little latch, it would fold. Part of it wouldn't fold. You'd have to pound on it, and finally you'd get the thing to fold up small enough to stick it in the back of the car. I guess the only thing with this one, what happens when the battery runs out and you want to fold this thing up so you can stick it in the car and you can't? Do you hand crank it down or what happens, But if you want the Cadillac of strollers for your kids, $849. Now, what happens, too, when you push the button when there's a kid in? They got a safety thing so that it doesn't fold up when the kid's on board? Now, I will say this, it folded flat, so the kid would just end up on his back looking up. But still kind of an interesting stroller. Now, definitely this video was not taken in the United States, so I don't know if they've got any import restrictions on this or not, but I'll have a link up in the show notes for you. Of course, Xbox Live TV has launched, and there's been some discussion about that here over the past week. One thing that Verizon was offering was a handful of HD channels on the Xbox Live, but here's the deal. You had to be a Verizon Fios customer in order to get the channels on Xbox Live. You couldn't get the TV channels just by loading the Xbox Live and being hooked to another cable provider. You actually had to have a Verizon Fios service. Why would you want to use your Xbox if you still had to be connected to your normal cable connection? That's what I don't get. I really don't understand. But this is a fail on Xbox's side. When we get Rob on, we'll talk to him about it. Because it's really not making it easier for us to cut the cord. They still want you to pay for those additional services. All right, Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, and a variety of ISPs have all been served with a streaming site blocking demand. Not here in the United States, but a trio of organizations representing movie, cinemas, and TV industries have gone to court in France to attempt to force Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, and the country's ISPs to block a number of streaming sites. They want to shut down some streaming sites that they say are infringing and doing copyright violation. Popular sites like Allo Streaming, Allo Share, Allo Movies, Allo Show TV, all included in the takedown notice. But now the companies are going after streaming sites. So we'll see how this goes for the users in France. But it just shows that there's another front here that they're attacking. They're attacking the streaming media sites. Another article over on torrentfreak.com talks about uTorrent. The new uTorrent has come online, and it's called uTorrent Plus. It's available for pre-sale for $24.95. So now, for the first time ever, uTorrent users can pay for their favorite BitTorrent client. It's going to give some additional services. So this is kind of an interesting move. The Plus version is going to enable users to convert videos and transfer files to external devices. And it also comes with a built-in antivirus, remote file transfer, and a built-in media player. So with this a new version of uTorrent on pre-sale for $24.95, it's going to give you some additional options here. But the free uTorrent client still offers all of the essential functionality and continues to receive significant attention from the dev team. So don't worry, that's still going to be supported, and you'll be able to use a newer version of uTorrent as well. Time Warner Cable has introduced their app on Android, and it's basically for tablets and for mobile phones, but there's no live TV on it. You can only do channel. You look at the channel guide and select the different channels and change your. It's a glorified remote is really what it was. But essentially, you can enable remote DVR programming, channel tuning, and filtered program searches, but you can't do any video streaming on it. So what's the use of this thing? And I don't understand this. Funny thing, I heard today in my car, I had an AM station turned on, and I heard a guy talking about the Time. It's so funny, talking about the Time Warner iPhone app and promoting it, but the Time Warner iPhone app is not available here in Hawaii. It's only in the mainland. So I'm thinking, do they not know that Time Warner hasn't enabled that here? So we'll see what happens with this. But one of the Time Warner Cable representatives said it will bring live streaming to Android with Ice Cream Sandwich. So if you have an Ice Cream Sandwich version, likely that the streaming will be enabled on that particular operating system. Little space news here. We had the astronauts come back from the International Space Station last week, having been replaced by a successful launch of a Soyuz craft to the International Space Station. But Fossum and his crewmates basically have been talking about their experience in space. And, of course, Fossum was real big on blogging stuff and tweeting stuff. He's got a great write-up here at space.com. He said space never got old, and he talks about his experience. I have that link up in the show notes. I'm very happy to say, and of course, this happened on Thanksgiving Day. I was not, I kind of was not paying attention, but the Atlas V rocket with the Curiosity rover has thundered off to Mars. So I'm pretty jazzed that this has went down, and that we've had a successful launch. And I've actually got the video up here, and let's bring that. And it's showing the rocket taking off. But everything went good with the launch. Now NASA is saying that the NASA Mars rover had some potential slip up in its cleaning procedure. Now, when they send one of these rovers off to Mars, they want to make sure that there's nothing on the rover that would introduce any type of foreign germs, bacteria to the planet. And apparently a couple of the drill bits that went with the rover did not go through this super ultra clean that they use. So they feel that the impact is very low, but NASA did brief the press on this planetary protection slip up, as they call it. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on, and we're off to Mars, and we'll look forward to a summer landing of Curiosity at Mars, and that's going to be exciting landing for sure. If you have a Bravia TV from Sony, there's a new firmware update available. So if you have a Sony Bravia TV series, they've improved the limited number of widgets that is on that device. So the built-in YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter widgets have been improved. And so you can get that update. Just check with Sony. If you've got a Sony Bravia TV series, that'd be a good update for you to run on that television and get some updates. In Denmark, they had a 12,000 computer LAN party. Now think about that for a second. They went to a convention center and had 12,000 people brought in their computers, got them set up. It was called DreamHack, and this is amazing what they did. And they've got some pictures here, so let me bring up some proposals. Here's what part of the hall looked like to begin with. It's just this big auditorium, rows and rows of tables, power cords. They brought in, like, what did they say, 120, let me look at this, 120 gigabits of internet. Um, Here's a room that's got 5,000 people that are in the hall that are running their PCs. They show off some of the gear that was running. Oh, that probably is not child safe. Let's switch here. People sleeping at their computers. It's just, you know, pure insanity. But 12,000 people gaming and hacking and doing all kinds of different stuff. And but they brought in some huge Cisco routers. Shows people crashed out. It's just like this mass of people. But the network engineers trying to keep things up and running. You can only imagine the challenges in keeping 12,000 people online. And basically, the bandwidth they brought in was enough to have each person have 10 gigs of or 10 megs of bandwidth connection. They said it was pretty good. It did, most of it held up. Cisco brought in some huge routers and stuff. But anyway, I have a few of the images from the event there I showed you. But if you want to take a closer look, you can go over to extremetech.com, and the link will be up in the show notes. So it looks like a lot of fun. But have any of you ever attended an event like that? Obviously not on that big a scale, but if you have, you know, what does everyone do? Are they just gaming? Are they doing, is it a just big LAN party? You know, I'd love to hear you guys' comments on that. Hey, if you've been working, playing out or hanging out in Google Hangouts, Google's now offering free phone calls from within Hangouts. So this is kind of interesting here. Google is basically making it available so when you're hanging out with people, you can call someone in the U.S. and Canada only and get them in the Hangout on phone. So this is pretty cool. Now, what you have to do is you have to use the extras. You have to use the Google Hangouts with extras to actually access the telephone part. But you can call people and they can, you know, you can have a big party that way as well. So kind of cool new feature by Google Hangout. Well, I've been thinking about buying this Jawbone up, and I guess it's getting a lot of negative press. It was really released to a lot of accolades, but a lot of people are having a lot of issues with this. Now, what the Jawbone Up does, it's a stylish wristband that basically is supposed to prod you into a healthier lifestyle. And but it's been crashing a lot. The iPhone app isn't working good. But you know, it's supposed to measure your breathing, your exercising, all kinds of things that you're doing. And yet they're having a lot of issue, and a lot of people are returning these. So if any of you have purchased a Jawbone Up or have one under the tree for that significant other, you may want to read this article and reconsider this Christmas purchase, because it may be one of those that will be going back to the retailer after the person you give it to decides it's not worth the money that you spent it on. They really have been, you know, Jawbone's been pretty good. They've done a lot of great products, and so it just goes to show you that they can't hit a home run every time. That's for sure. All right, Nielsen. Wow, Nielsen is reporting TV ownership declines. This is a big one. Every year, the estimated number of U.S. households owning TV sets has gone up until now. According to Nielsen's annual television audience report that was released this week, the number of households with a TV set will decline. The rising trend of TV ownership has been leveling off in recent years, and now the number has dropped from 115.9 million homes in 2011 to an estimated 114.7 million homes in 2012. That's a 1% decline despite the number of households rising. It says TV ownership among key adults 18 to 49 also declined even steeper, down 2.7%, a downward trend that started to see even slight decline in 2010. But here's the thing that's amazing. You know, the average home, I heard a statistic, I think has 3 television sets. And the average average home replaces a TV every 3 years. So the oldest set that you'd have in your house would be about 9 years old. And if I think about our house, that is probably I've only got 2 TVs in the home. We've cut the cord. So, we use Roku and Boxy and the Google TV. We only have 2. Of course, the kids have one they use for gaming, but that's an old CRT one. Drives my son insane. So that's why he likes using the LED flat screen in the bedroom. But it definitely shows that people are changing the way they're consuming content. So we'll see how this decline continues over the next couple of years. All right, there's a article over on KrebsOnSecurity.com talking about a denial of service attack. There's really a big effort underway by hackers and computer crooks. And the FBI is warning that there's been a lot of launching of cyber attacks against banks and their customers. And so what we need to do here is you need to really start watching your accounts. And there's been a lot of attacks that are basically they're trying to doing some things where you get an email that's supposedly from the National Automated Clearinghouse Association. This is in different types of things, and you're basically being given spyware. So be aware here. Be careful of using a known computer to access your bank. Don't be using public computers at all. Don't be on public internet when you're doing it. But there's a Trojan they're loading in the thing is basically capturing data. And once they own you, they can transfer the money out of your account. They can do all kinds of different things. So be careful out there in doing your online banking, okay? And I'll have a link up to this in the show notes for you to check out. All right, last article of the night. And I have some voicemail and some emails to go over. Google has basically made some changes to the Google search engine. One of the things that was a big update was that they are now going to be suppressing park domains. And that's great news because, the last thing you want to do is go to a site that's just full of ads on a park domain. And so they've essentially given park domains a ticket. They're trying to also they've used some new algorithms to try out what is an original article. So in other words, if someone's lifted an article from Geek News Central like they do all the time, they're putting in some new algorithms to basically detect who's the actual true owner, then suppressing all of the copied stuff. And they've also made some changes so that Google is pulling back and allowing a single site to potentially dominate all the top search results for a specific term. And they're also saying that rare words count a lot more. So if you're using some strange word or a sequence of strange words, you'll definitely end up in a higher ranking, which is kind of an interesting move. But I'll have a link up in the show notes on all of that. All right, got a couple of voicemails here. I'll go ahead and play these. And I just basically downloaded them just prior to the show starting and did not preview them. So if there turns out to be a personal one in there, I'll shut it off. But let me turn the volume up here on the system that does this. And let me load up Winamp. Here's the first one.
Hey, Todd, this is Chris Murch. I don't need this to go on to a podcast.
Okay, so that one doesn't need to go on a podcast, so we'll play the next one.
Hey, Todd, it's Dennis from California. So I was just listening to your last, I think it was the last one that you sent out. I'm not too sure since I'm a little behind on the podcast. But Google Plus, definitely a nerd's hangout. I would completely agree on that one. It's really much better than Facebook for tech content and stuff like that. Also, you mentioned that Android doesn't take screenshots. Well, the new ice cream sandwich happens to take screenshots. And I know I'm like a big propaganda for Android, but it's a fact. It does take screenshots. And also, if you use SignIn Mod, it allows you to take screenshots by just holding down the power button and gives you the option for a screenshot. So that's available to you in any location that you're at. So that's something that you can use. Love the show. Bye.
Hey, thanks. And if it was a little...
Todd, this is Rip Farm.
Let's wait here. The Kindle Fire definitely doesn't take screenshots. So maybe some of the other Android phones do, but what I was referring to there was definitely Kindle's version of the Android device. So on the Fire, it definitely doesn't take screenshots. But thanks for the update on other Android devices being able to do so. Let me go ahead here and play the last call of the show.
Todd, this is Bruce Barr, also known as Mr. Gadgets here in the Kansas City area. Had a couple thoughts on your trip to Salt Lake City and how you found it a bit strange.
Yeah.
What it was like there in downtown, Salt Lake City. Just maybe to give you an idea here. So, two things. There's a lot of history of the Mormon Church
True.
and the RLDS Church, the Reformed Latter-day Saints Church, which now has renamed themselves as Community of Christ.
Huh.
And a lot of that church history is right here from the Kansas City area.
True.
And since both churches have major history and major-sized churches and congregations associated with them here in the Kansas City area, I have, throughout my young adult life, all the way from high school on through college and through my adult life, had several friends that are members of one or the other of those churches. There's actually a couple of other sects that are also offshoots of Joseph Smith that are here in the Kansas City area, but they're very small. I have the utmost respect for every single person I have ever met that has been a member of either of these churches. They are upright, they are virtuous, they are hardworking, and they are just the type of people you would want to have in the society with you. So there's no disrespect in here, but just to give you an idea, number one, every single address, northwest, southwest, northeast, southeast, 2 numbers. How far from the north and east, how far from the south and west to the center of town. The center of town is the temple.
Right.
Okay?
I knew that.
Brigham Young led his people out there as part of the church congregation when the split happened in Illinois. Part of them moved back here to Kansas City. That's the RLDS. Part of them moved to Utah. And Utah almost wasn't a member of the state of the United States. It was dicey.
Right.
If the Army was going to win that little war out there or not. Okay? I had a friend in the middle 70s. Her father was the vice president at Yellow Freight and got a job as president of Yellow Freight, large trucking company. A lot of trucking and railroad goes through Kansas City, and he got a job at Intermountain Freight out in Salt Lake. So she stayed in Kansas City here studying in the university where I was, but her parents moved out to Salt Lake City. Her mother, about a month after they moved into their executive home in the executive community in suburban Salt Lake City, got a call from the lady next door. And the lady next door says to her, "Would you like to come over for a cup of coffee?" And her mother was somewhat taken aback, but she said, "Well, yes, I would." And so she went over there. Now, I don't know if you know, but there's a prescription within those churches about very cold drinks and very hot drinks. So coffee is a no-no. Okay? So the first thing she asked the lady after they sat down with their coffee is she said, "How did you know that I drank coffee?" Because most people would not, right? And she said, "Oh, dear, I knew you weren't a member of the church because you go out to pick up your newspaper every morning in your robe and pajamas."
Interesting.
Always enjoy the show, and hope you're having happy holidays. And I'm thinking about your family in your time of mourning here.
Hey, thank you so much. And I will say one thing about Salt Lake. Everyone was super nice. I didn't meet a person that was grumpy. I met even restaurant wait staff was fantastic. I will say that probably of all the places I've traveled in the world, Salt Lake was the most polite and friendly city that I've ever been in. But what I struck was odd as I was staying downtown, and Monday and Tuesday hardly any traffic in the downtown area. It was just kind of like, it was just odd, but still big city, And of course, everything was Temple Street, and it was kind of funny because I was staying at the Hilton. I think that was actually off West Temple or something like that. But yeah, I know the history there of Salt Lake, and definitely a great place to go for research too, for genealogy research. They've got some of the best records in the country. Okay, let me go ahead and get into the email, then we'll get everybody out of here. I got an email from Bree, one of our longtime listeners out of Washington, D.C. Bree, thanks for also pointing us out to this app that is basically causing phone logs to be to tap. So I want to thank you for that. I appreciate it. We definitely was on top of that as well. Got a couple of emails from Holger, one of the longtime listeners of the show. Hey, Holger, don't worry. I didn't take any offense to your email. I think when I replied to you, I may have replied a little bit curt. I was definitely time zone swamped, but thanks for your follow-up email as well. And but anyway, I understand everything, all the points that you laid out in your email. We won't go into it in any depth, but thanks for that. I got an email here from Trucker Tom, and I don't fully understand. Tom, maybe you can send me some more info on this, but the email on this is a subject that says shameful. And apparently, what's going on, and I'm a big I don't want people's rights to be impeded. So when it comes to people drinking, smoking legal, drinking legal materials, smoking legal stuff, I'm not about impeding, and I'm about choice. But he sent me this link. He says that there's some legislation apparently going on that non face-to-face sales and distribution of tobacco products is likely to be a battleground here. A federal regulation banning long-distance sales of cigars could be finalized soon after December 8th. Now, I will be the first to admit that every once in a while I like a nice cigar, maybe one a month, and it's not like I'm going out and killing 20 stogies in a month. It's more like one a month. But many times, if I hear about a cigar that's nice, maybe I'll order one online or two online to add to my humidor. But apparently, there is some legislation going through here to basically face-to-face sale and distribution of tobacco could be banned. And this is a very interesting development here. I don't really have a link to this specific thing. I'll try to get some legislation links. So, again, I think people should have a right to do what they want within the confines of their home or wherever smoking is allowed in public. And but I know some people are against smoking, and I understand that completely. But I think it's interesting that they're trying to suppress the sale of tobacco via online sites. So that's kind of an interesting move. But thanks, Tom, for that email. Ron, also thanks for reminding me to change the link to the podcast in the actual show notes. I had not done that, so I appreciate your pinging me on that. Got an email from JP. He said, hey, this was just announced the same week that the HDCP crack was. Talk about stupid. And what this is the NCTA to the FCC, they're going to let all MSOs increase. Okay, let me load this up. What is this about? I didn't read this article. It's about multi-channel news. It's at multichannel.com. Come on, page. You can load for me. Oh, JP, this article is not loading. It says, what's a MCO? The National Cable and Telecommunications Association urged the FCC to allow cable operators that have gone all digital to encrypt their basic tier. Oh, this is what this is. All right, how many of you are basically plugging your cable in directly into your television, and you get the basic listings of television channels? What JP is telling me here is that NCTA is asking, basically, they want to encrypt all those basic channels so that you have to have a cable box no matter what, or a cable card, which has been almost impossible to give that. Now, the FCC has said that there was an issue with consumers with basic-only digital who access it without set-tops or second or third sets that would now need new equipment to unscramble the signal. And apparently the FCC had given Cablevision a waiver in New York City. But at the same time, I think so long as the FCC tells them, forces them to give cable cards up. Of course, not all sets have cable cards. But what it would make you do is if you have an older set, you would have to upgrade or rent another box from your cable provider. This is a good one. So thanks for that, JP. I'll have that link up in the show notes. So again, this is something maybe we're going to have to comment on with the FCC, basically saying, hey, don't encrypt the basic channel package that is provided by the cable providers. On the Apple App Store, Richard has sent me a link here. Said iTether, an unlimited tethering app, appeared in Apple's App Store. This is the first one that's been put up. So if you want to check that out, iTether is a new app that's available. And Trucker Tom also sent me a link here to what's called a computerized contact lens, and it'll keep you up to date with news and text. Now this is not kidding. The dailymail.co.uk is reporting that a prototype contact lens could create hands-free information And they placed one of these into a rabbit's eye without causing any health problems. The inventor is looking to incorporate sensors to pick up information about your medical data. It'd be kind of a cool way for diabetics to have their blood read. So this is interesting. So they're talking about InfoVision built right into your contact lens, and you just sit there and have data fed to you. I wonder what would happen with that data being fed while you were trying to sleep. I don't think that would be good. Got another email from Richard. Thanks for your thoughts from my father-in-law. And that's it. That's all of the email, and that's all of the content. And we're definitely at an hour and 20 minutes here. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me. Kind of a screwy start to the show. Geez, sometimes it goes that way. And I hope you guys stayed with me to the end. But again, I want to encourage you to definitely check out GoToMeeting, Audible, and check out our GoDaddy products and services. Of course, if you want to get Ohana wear, you can go over to cafepress.com/Ohana store. Next show, I'll be on the road again, the final week out of Austin, Texas. And I'm going to try to meet up with the Podfather a week from tomorrow. And I'm going to send Adam an email. Adam Curry's now living in Austin. So I'm going to try to, I haven't even emailed him yet, but I'm going to email him and try to meet up on Friday the 9th and see if he wants to go out, take him out for dinner. And if he's willing to allow other people to tag along, I'll let you guys know. I don't even know if he'll even respond to me or not, but definitely want to take some time and take them out, him and his a lovely girlfriend out for dinner and just chat and talk about the new media space and just life in general. But anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, make sure you stay subscribed. Tell people about the show. Link to our GoDaddy offers, and we definitely appreciate any donations towards CES 2012 to support our support staff. Until next time, everyone take care and aloha.